I'm ready.
Let's Hey, you guys, welcome to the No Manual, Just Love podcast. And this is our first episode. And why is it No Manual, Just Love?
Because we in the autism world there is no manual.
None at all.
Not at all, and that's why. And we're moms, and it's all about the love. So
we just try to love these kids.
Just love these kids. These crazy kids.
These kids.
Just love these kids.
Okay. So do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so I am Jasmine.
I'm Sky.
And we are your hosts for the No Manual Just Love podcast. We have started this podcast because we wanted to spread some awareness about autism. And we want to provide a better insight as far as what it's like to raise children that have autism and what it's like for those that are autistic themselves. So what do you think about that?
I think you just hit it right nail on the head. That's pretty much what it is.
And also, we wanted to create a community. I forgot that part. So we definitely want to create a community for caregivers and parents who are raising those who are autistic.
Yeah, and then just kind of have a place where you can let your hair down, be honest, be true, be real, and speak about your experiences.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we should tell them who we are and how we actually met.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we met in a focus group by Faces.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program that's held in North Carolina. Pretty much, it's really just targeting African Americans and black families who have children on the spectrum or take care of children on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think it was about maybe 4 of us who was there.
Mm-hmm.
4 of us who were there, and we were all sharing our journeys. Answering questions, listening to the facts that they gave us, and then after doing all that, me and her wind up connecting.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a connection from the start. I was like, oh, she get my vibe, my joke. She's laughing. I like this. And from there, I think we just continue to speak. And then after hearing like, hey, why is there something that's not like this often?
Mm-hmm.
Why are there things not already in place? And then after becoming after having the confidence to just go ahead and push through, I was like, you know what podcast it is, and then I just thought of you. And that's how we got here. So yay, all the good things.
Okay, so yeah, that's how we met. And well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sky. I have a special needs son. He is age 7. I would say moderate. He's like moderate. He is nonverbal. He was diagnosed when he was 2 years old, and we just been ripping and running since.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is, ripping and running, therapies, all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's been busy. It's a different type of job.
It is. It's a lot of work.
A lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of exhaustion. I mean, You're speaking from someone who went to bed at 4:00 in the morning. So, honestly, I'm surprised I'm here. I'm surprised.
Me too.
Surprised.
Girl,
sitting here.
I would have been in bed. Like,
who are you telling?
We're going to have to do this podcast online from my bed because...
I'm just saying, though, there's going to be times where it's going to look like, what's going on? I'm like, I was in the bed. I didn't feel like doing this, but I wanted to do it. So here you are seeing me.
Yeah.
But dedication.
Yes. Dedication for sure.
Dedication.
I appreciate that.
No, dedication. I feel like, partnership is a real thing. Because I'm telling you, if it was just me, I'm like, and no. Yeah. And not today. And not tomorrow. And not the next day.
Not next year. Next week.
But when you have a partner, you're like, we made a commitment. This is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Hold me accountable. We're going to do what we do.
Yes. So I am Jasmine. I am a mom of 2. I have my son who is autistic, and then I also have a daughter who has not been diagnosed with autism. My son was diagnosed when he was 7. And yeah, it's been a journey. I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot. And I love when we were in the Faces focus group because I really felt seen or whatever. Like, I feel like throughout this journey, it was the first time that I really felt like, you know what, these people get me. And all of our children weren't the same and stuff like that. So, but even though our situations aren't specifically the same, we still kind of could, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, we could
connect.
Yeah, we could connect.
We had an understanding. I think even though our children are not all on the same level on the spectrum, it's just that a lot of things we were saying sound like we were talking to one another, like talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, your child's not on the same spectrum as mine, but yet and still, you know what it means when we go into all these daggone therapies, and we sitting here, we exhausted, you know, and the stemming and the whole thing. We even talked about so many different factors and faces, which that's why I love faces. But we talked about so many different factors. So many different factors, including like family, friends, the dynamics, what we go through. So it was really something.
Yeah. So I feel like we should do an episode on how inconvenient some of these resources are too, because like you were talking about going to like these appointments and being tired.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like these, we actually just wrapped up on last Monday. Carson was going to one of these, like a gorilla group. Okay. But it was like Mondays from like 4:30 to 6. Like, so I would have to like take my laptop with me because I'm still working and I still have to participate with him in the focus group. It was so overwhelming.
That's not even, how are you going to do that?
I did it.
Oh, you did it? Oh, okay.
We just wrapped it up. I don't know. I was like, you know.
I'm like, no, that's what I'm talking about. That's real parenting. Because the way I say, and I ain't finna do that, you know? I ain't finna, something gotta drop. And that's what I learned. Like, I'm learning that more so now. I'm learning how to say no. That now, he needs these services, but not all at the same time. Yeah. Because at the same time, it's like, think of it for them. Like, they're already going through an imbalance in a sense. Right. And then you have to take them here and here and here, and they have to work on different goals. And that's frustrating in itself. It is. And I feel like, especially like for my journey, my son, he was diagnosed when he was 2. And after that, it was more of a thing like, no, you cannot work, you know? So his dad is working, and it's just more so like I take care of that. I take care of his services, his care, and it's just be a lot. Like he had OT, speech, teach, ASL, swim, all in a week. And you saying like
all in 1 week?
Yeah, that's what we had, you know, all in 1 week. And then at one point, you know, these therapists actually become your family, and they sit there and they talk to you, and you're like, hey, how you doing? Because you look a little, and I'd be like drained, tired, and they're like, yeah, and you're like, you know, maybe we could push it back for once a week instead of twice a week. Yeah. You know, so it's really good to have those providers that recognize that you're trying your absolute best, and them maybe letting you know, like, hey, maybe you need to take a pause, maybe you need to take a break.
Because it makes it harder for the kid if the parent is stressed out or whatever. Yeah. Too. So okay, so we already talked about, you know, like who we are and how we met throughout the Faces focus group, and I touched a little bit on our mission and why we decided to do the podcast. I feel like in our community we don't really have a cohesive community. No. And I think that there's so many resources out there available that we just aren't privy to, and so I would love to be a resource for people too.
Yeah, a way to connect, a way to discuss, ask questions, you know, talk about our experiences.
And to feel seen.
Exactly. And I feel like sharing your experience also allows you to not feel alone, you know, because it can be a lonely journey. Yeah. A lot of the time I feel like I am a very, you know, before Hassan, I'm a social butterfly. I feel like I can connect to pretty much anybody. But
I think you still can.
I mean, I can. I mean, it's weird. Yeah. You know, I'm sitting here, I was, like, even yesterday, I was sitting here, like, going to the store, and I'm just looking at stuff, you know, browsing and whatnot, and just this random girl came up talking to me, like a full-blown conversation. I didn't say a word. And I'm like, oh, yeah, da-da-da-da.
And you said that, like, you're always meeting, like, these random people. I wonder why.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a familiarity or if it's just, like, I don't know what I give off.
You give off this comforting spirit, I think. Aww. Or whatever. Like you give it, like, you know how some people, you have a very nurturing spirit. I think that's what it is or whatever. Aww, and so maybe you just make people feel comfortable to, like.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. No, I think, it could be that. I feel like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because you get I get the weirdos.
Sometimes I get weirdos.
Sometimes I get the weirdos, that's why you pray.
Yes.
And then sometimes I get really good-hearted people. I feel like, again, God connects you with people at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I remember I was in the car and I was just, in my Uber ride. And the guy, we wound up talking. I was like, "Oh, is it spring break?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "The kids should be off." I said, "Oh." He was like, "Oh, you don't have kids?" I said, "Yeah, I have a kid, but I homeschool."
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Oh." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, why did you choose to do that?" I told him, "Hey, my kid is autistic. It's just the best option for him right now, especially while we're dealing with all the things."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh wow." He's like, "My brother is actually autistic."
Yes, I remember you telling me the story. Yeah, keep going. This is a beautiful story.
Yeah, so he said, and this was an older man. Like, he's old enough to be my like, I would say like my father, like in his 50s or late 50s. And we were chit-chatting, and he was just like, "Yeah, my brother is actually autistic." And I'm like, "Oh wow." And I was like, "Was he verbal, nonverbal?" And he was like, "No, he was nonverbal for a long time." And they were actually in North Carolina. So they were deep in North Carolina, not where we are now. We are in the up. What would we say?
We're in like a major city, so
yeah.
This person was in the boonies. Is what we call it.
He was in the
South.
sticks.
He was in the boonies.
He was in the sticks. He was in the sticks. So I would say, based off what he was telling me, he's about in his 60s.
Okay.
And he was telling me that where he was, it wasn't diverse. Like, it was pretty much black and white.
Yeah.
And during the time, they were going through the time where they were transitioning into segregated and non-segregated schools.
Okay.
Kind of thing going on. So he was saying that, he was in an all-white school, and at one point the teacher just told his mother that, hey, he's not gonna make it. Like, he's not going to speak. He cannot read. He don't know math.
So
there's no need to work with him. Just gave up on him.
Just tossed him to the side.
Just tossed him to the side. And he said that his mother was just like a strong, just like a strong being. Strong black woman, 5'9", thick girl.
Okay.
Thick girl.
Watch out for the thick girl.
Watch out for the thick girl. So she was a thick girl too, and she just didn't take no for an answer. And that's what was really something, because she was like, you got a lot of naysayers saying that they'll never amount to this and never amount to that, and she was like, we just started working on with him, and as soon as we found his niche, which was he's a historian, so he loves history. Yeah. So you give him all type of books about history, he'll gravitate towards it. So they start off with reading, and then eventually he started speaking, and then he started reading. Wow. And then pretty much, he completed high school, right? Got a certificate of completion. But then he wanted to go into college and get in his associate's degree. Okay. Took him a while. Then he wanted to get in his bachelor's degree, his master's, and then his PhD.
Hold
on. Wait a minute. Say it one more time. Associates, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. And he's actually a professor at a college now. And a black man at that. So, it just goes to show you that you can't always listen to everybody. Not everybody has that spirit. Not everybody has that you can do it kind of spirit. Yeah. And you have to select the proper people around your child. Yeah. Just because you're a teacher, it doesn't mean you need to be teaching.
That is true.
Keep that in mind.
That is true.
Keep that in mind. So.
But I think that's amazing. Like, there is this student that they were literally writing off or whatever, and wasn't willing to put in the work. And actually just tailor some type of education and learning style that was specific for him. And they really just like, let him just fall to the wayside. Yeah. And thank God that there are people like his mom that's able to be like, you know what? No, I'm going to take care of this, because now he's a professor, and I wonder how many lives he's changed as a professor because his mom advocated for him and did what she had to do.
Yeah, and that was just really something to hear. He was like, the whole family, like our immediate family, just came together. He is like, he's my younger brother, but typically he kind of takes the older brother role.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, my mom started staying with him. His father was like the breadwinner.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was working, the mom was just working on him, working on him. And eventually it just got better.
Yeah. Wow, that's really amazing. And like they say, it takes a village. That was a village.
That's
that
a
was
village.
True village.
That's a village.
The village got to work too hard these days. The village can't afford to be a village anymore.
I mean, it's like a village. What you mean? Like I'm struggling to handle mine.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
The village is still working a lot. Like no one has how some families had like that grandma that was no longer working that could kind of help out with the grandkids. Like that doesn't exist as much anymore.
No.
Well, okay, maybe that's a southern thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Don't do that.
My bad.
I'm from up north. Don't. You see?
I'm from up north. Face. It was like,
not really. It's not a southern thing. No, but I'm from up north actually. So I'm from New York City originally, born and raised. But yeah, no, I don't think it's just. I think it's just dependent on I don't even know how to put it, but I would just say that it's more for, I think it's just because it's so hard that even like people who are parents are still working.
Yeah.
Like we got to be honest about that. I think it's just the demographics and the financial crisis that we're going through right now. I think everybody is just working and just tired.
And heavy on the tired.
Heavy on the tired. Exhausted.
Yeah.
Don't get a break, and then when you do get a break, it's like, is that really a break? Like, you actually do need more, don't you?
You do.
You don't need just an hour. You need, give me a few days to recover without speaking, without the extra stuff.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So I think that's why. I think that the village is existing when it comes to special events, special occasions, I think, but more so like on an everyday basis. I think we're all just struggling. And at the same time, depending on people's jobs, how they're moving. Like for me, I'm out here in North Carolina. A lot of people I have some people in North Carolina, but because they're dealing with their lives and vice versa, it's just quite hard. And then you got people, I got people who are in Virginia and in New York, but we're all just working.
Right.
We're all just working. So who actually has the time to go ahead and take care of kids and going back and forth? I mean, holidays, yes. When you're down here, yes, they can come over, but every day,
on a consistent basis, yeah. It's just,
I don't see that. I don't see that.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's gonna change, though. I do. I don't know why. Just work with me.
Work with you?
I hope.
I like
be
that.
a little delulu for things to happen.
A little, just a little bit. I like the way you said it. You said a little. I hope. I like that. I like that. I like the way you're so hopeful.
Yeah.
You sound very positive, very upbeat.
I'm gonna try.
That's one of the things I like about you.
Yeah.
You're very positive, very upbeat, very like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Do this. You got that type of energy.
Yes, you got to sometimes, because if not, you gonna be down bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. But yeah, I feel like we getting kind of like it got a little somber there.
Got a little dark there. Hold on. Uplift.
Okay, so let's talk about the first time that we kind of suspected something was different with our kids.
Oh.
And we already discussed how old they are. So yeah, so when was the first time that you was like, maybe I should get him tested?
Well, Hassan was 1. I think it's like when he was 1 and he still wasn't uttering a word. And that was something alarming. But we told his primary care physician, this is when we were living in Virginia. We told his primary care physician, and it pretty much was like, yeah, just let's wait 15 months. So 15 months came and went, and I was like, he's still not speaking. And she was like, okay, no problem. Let's sign him up for speech therapy. She was like, I don't think, it's still early, so let's just sign him for speech therapy and see what happens.
Yeah.
We did speech therapy for some time, and it was pretty good. And then after a while, she started telling me some techniques and some things to do. And then, you know how you just stumble on something and you wind up realizing, like, wait, this is associated to this. She wound up giving me tips for children who have autism who are nonverbal. So to tap in on it. And I was like...
But she didn't, say, you should probably get him tested
no,
for this.
Well, not quite. It was a little later when we hit about 20 months.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah.
It's time.
I think you should. and she was like, I'm speaking from a place of care. She was speaking from a case of care. She said, yeah, I really think so. She also had a child on the spectrum too. So she was like,
okay, that's nice to have
yeah,
a physician that also has a child,
on
so
the
they
spectrum.
understand it not only as a physician because they've studied some of these things, but personal experience.
Yep.
So yeah.
She was really a helpful hand. And then by age 2, he was actually 2 years and 3 months he was diagnosed. And that was something.
Okay.
Like, that was something. I think for me, to answer your question, it was more of he wasn't talking. He was hitting all the other milestones, but he just was not talking.
Yeah.
And then there were times where he would do some things were a little odd, but also I recognized that his cousin actually has autism. So some of the things that he was doing, such as the hand flapping, or like the babbling, or kind of like the stare spells. So autistic children, sometimes when they are stemming or when they're going through, I would say like I don't know what's quite the word, but sometimes they go through this thing where they're stemming and in the middle of it they just stop. And he would stare, but it would be for like a long time, kind of like it looks like they're daydreaming.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like a daydreaming kind of effect, and they would stare into space, and I noticed like it would be like for 2-3 minutes straight.
Okay.
And then that's when I realized, okay, something's going on. And he wouldn't play with toys in the traditional way. So instead of rolling the car, he would play with the wheels.
Okay.
When he played
so was
with,
he like taking the wheels off?
No, it would be like he flipped over the car. I'd be like, hey, Hassan, push the car.
And he would just be like, nope,
No,
I only care about these wheels.
No, my baby was like, actually, yeah, look at that. Look at the way they turn. So then that was another thing. And then he also had a thing with like throwing things in the air and watching it fall. Like that would be some type of stimulation for him, which I wanted to find out. So that's how, like, also when we got the evaluation and she was asking us all these questions, because during the time when he was getting diagnosed, it was during COVID-19.
Okay.
Which opens up another can of worms,
Oh,
right?
child.
That was a lot. So that opened up another can of worms, but she was like, let me see how he plays with you.
Yeah.
And he would play with us like sometimes. So we would play like, oh, look at me and dad, look at me and dad. We would play. And the next thing you know, he wouldn't pay us no attention, and then he would come over. And then even the way he played, like we were playing with the counting bears, and he was like, no, I don't want them in a row. Let's throw them up in the air. And he would just throw them up in the air and watch them done. And she was like, that's a way of regulating. Like, he likes the way it looks. It's a stimulated thing for him. So, all those factors, that was pretty much our journey. And then because it was COVID, shortly after, we moved to North Carolina.
Okay. And was that a hard transition, moving to North Carolina?
No, because then that made us have more space. We had more space.
So it gave you better quality of life?
Yeah, it was more space. Again, we moved out here. I know people out here, but I have never like lived like settled here.
Okay.
I have been here before, like right after high school for the summer. Let's clarify, for the summer. And this was before the dirt roads was. This is before all these roads was on the street and all these things. It was when you guys didn't have sidewalks at all. Yeah, I was there then.
Okay. That was
a long time ago, huh? But yeah, I think like it was a decent transition because it just made us say, okay, well now since we know, now it's time for redirecting. It's time to figure out how can we do the best for our kid. Yeah. And then it was just more of like, okay, I guess this is my job now. And with our diagnosis, our doctor was so good. We got diagnosed at the Children's Hospital in Virginia.
Oh, wow.
And she was very amazing. This doctor was like, she gave us a list. So we didn't only get a diagnosis, we got a list of therapies that was recommended. So she told us about TEAS, she told us about ABA, she told us about OT, speech, developmental therapist, all those things. So by the time we went out to North Carolina,
You were already kind of prepped.
I was
ready
prepped to
and know what to ask for.
Exactly. I was already prepped. I already knew what needed to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and then all it took was like maybe a phone call or two, and he went to early intervention
Mm-hmm.
here, and it was like boom, 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 and everything just kind of flowed.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, mine's is a little different.
A little different. A little different.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so I noticed when Carson was maybe around 2, maybe 1 or whatever, he did the same thing as far as like lining his toys up. But I thought that was more of a personality thing because me as a kid, I am very particular. Even now, I'm a very particular person. Things need to be in a way or whatever for it to make sense, or I get completely overwhelmed.
Okay.
And so
I'm here for it. I'm right here.
Yeah,
I'm right here.
so I'm like, oh, okay. He just kind of picks up after his mom. Like, these toys need to be, and if you like stepped over and accidentally like move one out the way, he would have like a complete meltdown.
Fit.
Yes.
A fit. Yes, that's all.
And so
Yep.
he like,
that's my baby.
don't mess up you better not mess up them line of cars or whatever, like. And so I was just like, oh, okay, like this is a personality thing, like, but I have to work on that anchor is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so we moved to a lot of the things that people say like art stimming and stuff like that. I just was completely ignorant. I really didn't know anything about autism or whatever. Like, of course I heard it in like the headlines and stuff like that, but I really didn't know like what that was. And so he started school during COVID, so his kindergarten year was online.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh dang, like this is going to be a hard year. Like this is going to be a long year because I am not a teacher.
Yeah.
But he was struggling, and again, I didn't know. Like, he's struggling for these very specific reasons. I just was thinking, like, I suck at this teaching thing. My baby need to go to real school.
Oh, so you thought so you put the fault on you?
Yeah, because I was working full time, like, and I work
was stressful. It had to be stressful, right?
It was extremely stressful, like extremely stressful, and I feel like I still kind of like try to make it up to my kids of how stressful COVID was for us, whatever. So sometimes I think I kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I kind of like, I'm like doing this guilt trip or whatever. Like let me do a little extra or whatever for them. Like you get what I'm saying? I feel like I'm always like trying to make up
for the lost time or the loss of things that you could have done but you weren't able to do.
Yeah. That's why now I got unlimited PTO. So now I be like, and I'm out.
You said.
Yeah. Oh, you lost your first 2, and I'm off. Like we're taking off today.
I like that.
Yeah. So he went to first grade, and that was actually in person. And so the guidance counselor was like, "Hey, I can't say this is what's going on, but I think that you should look into this program and ask his pediatrician about this program called Teach." And I was like, okay, like why? And so, we'll get into that in a different episode. But, so I was like, okay, like, what's Teach? Like, why? Like, tell me a little bit more what you think is going on. And so, his teacher would call us and would be like, yeah, Carson, he's having a hard time with, like, transitions and things like that. Or, like, he is having a hard time with, like, changes and stuff throughout the day. And he would have, like, these meltdowns. And so I would have to constantly, like, come to the school and, like, talk to him. Or the guidance counselor would call me and I would be like, oh, my God, like, he's not, like, behavioral wise, he doesn't misbehave or whatever, like what is going on? And so the guidance counselor told me about the Teach thing, and he said, maybe look into autism. And yeah, so I talked to his pediatrician about it. His pediatrician gave us like a piece of paper to complete and then to drop this other paper off at the school. And I felt like,
where's the guidance? I'm confused.
What this paper gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm quite confused. Like, your teacher saw it before your pediatrician?
So we had just moved to Raleigh as well, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
During COVID, he wasn't seeing the pediatrician as much or whatever. Like he was getting his like, and then he was kindergarten. So at kindergarten, that's like right before they get like they get the vaccines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like around that age, they really don't see them except for maybe like once or twice a year at that point.
That's true.
And so he was kind of out of that stage, but I'm surprised that his pediatrician, where we were at, didn't pick up on anything or whatever. So
yeah.
But yeah, so he gave us these papers. We like completed it, and I'm like, Okay, like Carson, he does do that. Like he does that
He's
too.
like,
Like
that this is sitting. This is my son right here.
yeah.
All these things.
And so he was like, oh. So I turned the paper back in. The school turned it back in. He's like, oh yeah, he has ADHD, and I'm gonna recommend you for teach because you have to have a referral for it. And I was like, ADHD. All right, this is me being like skeptical as a
Yeah.
black mom. Like y'all be trying to say all the black boys got ADHD. Like you figured this out by this paper. Like you haven't even really spent time with them or whatever. Like what are you telling me and stuff. And so I don't know. I guess I came from like the angry standpoint.
But you know what? Like it's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not uncommon because sometimes sometimes like we're in this new era now
Mm-hmm.
where everything is diagnosed.
Yes.
There's a diagnosis for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you said a little bit of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have mood swings, bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you a little extra hyperactive,
Mm-hmm.
ADHD.
Right.
You know, so I think like you're coming from a place where a lot of people come from, where it's like, hey, are you just come on now? Like, are you just trying to put a diagnosis on my kid, or is there actually something wrong?
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of the time it's like when you fill out these forms, you're like, okay, this is a form. I know that some of this stuff is relatable to my
Mm-hmm.
son, but I would feel like your reasoning
Mm-hmm.
or your analysis, in a sense, would be more accurate if you spend some time with him.
Exactly.
Versus just giving me a paper.
to fill out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be like the first and foremost, because that's a lot of the things. I think also you were in a place of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so I think like they were giving you the form just to see if you were if this even had to be a discussion,
Mm-hmm.
if we even had to make an appointment,
Mm-hmm.
because we were in a time where things were so scarce. People were scared to be even this close to each other.
Right.
You know, so to risk say, hey, do we really need to have an appointment, or can this be pushed back?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think COVID had a lot to do with you getting him diagnosed so late?
Probably because so he recommended us for teach, and then we went ahead and got on the waiting list or whatever, filled out all the forms and stuff. Me and his dad had to do like an intake interview, and they asked us questions about him and stuff, and we were on that waiting list for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And so yeah, so maybe he got diagnosed at 8, or he got diagnosed at 8. I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier, but
So he went to kindergarten at 5,
Mhm.
and then you got diagnosed not at 7, not 2 years later after the kindergarten.
yeah,
You
because it
mean
was
3
first
years.
grade that we got on the waiting list.
Oh my God.
And he didn't get diagnosed officially until 3rd grade.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God. What about all the service? Like, so he didn't get any services that whole time.
Yeah. He started getting services in 3rd grade. Now, I was able to start the process of the IEP at the end of his 2nd grade year, because we were able to get the diagnosis of the ADHD from his pediatrician or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just took that to the school, and I was like, hey, I want an IEP. And we went through that whole process or whatever. I had no idea what the hell the IEP was. So, are we cursing on the podcast?
It's
I probably
okay.
shouldn't.
No, be honest. This is a place where you can be transparent.
Okay.
Right? So we're gonna be as honest. There are gonna
True.
be tears. There are going to be
Big
times
tears.
where we are sitting here and we're
Mhm.
like, I don't know what the hell going on. It's okay to say that.
Yeah.
We're just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'll take it as it is.
Yeah. So we were on the waiting list for a while, and we finally went to the place, whatever, and went through all the testing, and they confirmed like, oh yeah, he has autism and ADHD as well, and I just started crying, and I told the lady, I was like, I don't know why I'm crying.
But
I have no idea.
you know, that's normal though. I cried too.
I was just like, I don't know. I
Why'd you
was
cry?
overwhelmed or whatever, and I don't know. But yeah.
Do you think it was just the idea like that that it may be more difficult for him in his life?
But even before the diagnosis, I knew he was different or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that already anyway. Like, okay, like he may have a hard time like in school because kids are mean and stuff. And so I would be like telling him, like he would come home and he would be like, such and such was like doing this or whatever. And I was like, listen.
Don't have me come to that school.
He got one more time. And that's it. You don't let anybody just walk all over you or whatever.
That's
like,
nice.
you have to stand up for yourself, and it's okay to stand up for yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been heavy on that, and I've always been heavy on, like, praising him and stuff like that, and having him repeat how amazing he is, because I felt like before the diagnosis, I felt like this world is not going to see it or whatever. And
So he's
we'll go
more
more
high
into that.
functioning. He's
Yeah.
more high functioning.
Mm-hmm.
So when did he start speaking? Did he have any delay?
No, he didn't have any delay with speaking. He had like a little delay with like walking or whatever, but
Okay.
no, speaking. He talks
Oh, he talks
a lot.
a lot. It's all right.
Especially when it's something that he like. If you get him talking about Legos or Roblox or what is it, Minecraft, I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking about. But I was sitting there like, yeah, okay. And he'd be like, and such did this. And I'm like, well, why did he do that? But I have no idea what we talk about. Like,
But at least you're one of those parents who's just like, shut up, just go sit down. You're more like engaging and encouraging.
Yeah.
See, that's nice.
You have to be.
That's nice. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was I guess I wasn't the one that suspected that something was different. Oh, I knew something was different. I just thought it was a him thing.
A personality thing.
Yeah. But it was really his guidance counselor that suspected, like, shout out to him.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. You gotta shout out these people who really just be, because I feel like even as a parent, I think sometimes, at least for myself, sometimes you want to play a blind eye. Like, nah, my baby good. He good. He just a little different. He's just a little different. And then you got people who are like, yeah, he's different, and that's okay. But different looks like this.
Exactly.
Different may mean autism. Different may mean ADHD, and that's fine. And that's the thing that, you know, for myself, like, labels are fine. I feel like having a label, and, you know, I think that's kind of like a controversy where it's like, no, we don't want them to label our children, but at the same time, that label is actually allowing other people to see them for the disability.
Yeah.
And to give some type of understanding and some connect. Because you got to think about it like this. If you know someone has autism, you know that some things, like, sometimes they don't get social cues, right? So if you say hi to them and they just look at you up and down and they walk away, you know, like, instead of saying this person is rude and don't have no home training, you're like, oh, they have autism.
Yeah.
So they may respond to you differently. You know, if you want to play with them and they walk away from you, that doesn't mean they don't like you. That means they're doing their own thing and they'll come back to you. So I think labels actually help our children, despite of, you know, what others may believe. I think it really does help because it gives you a type of understanding, and it gives you a sense of, okay, I can give you more grace. I can give you more understanding.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Did you have support after you got the diagnosis?
No.
Did you have support?
I didn't have support. They gave us a diagnosis, but then I was like, okay, now what? Like, there wasn't any, like, okay, well, here's some things that we should work on. Or, like, they're like, you know, executive functioning. Like, he has, you know, a problem with that or whatever. Well, not a problem, but he struggles with that. And it's like, okay, well, let me Google what executive functioning is, first of all, because I ain't never heard of it.
They didn't give you no definition?
They gave me this, like, stack of papers, but I really had to do more research on my own. And so I was like, all right, executive functioning. Right. He does struggle with that. What do I do about that? Like, now what? And so, and then even his dad was kind of on the same boat as me. Is like, I have no idea how to help my kid or whatever. Like, we got this diagnosis, but what now? And then my family and his family are also not as, like, educated in this either or whatever. I know my side of the family, the first thing was like, don't let them put him on medication. Like, don't let them give him medication and stuff. Like, don't put him on no medicine. Which I understand the mistrust in it, because I had a little cousin that he was extremely hyper as a kid. Like, I remember him being extremely hyper. And I remember when he started taking medication, and even to this day, he's grown now. He has never been the same since. And so I don't know if they maybe gave him too much or if something else happened, but it has been associated with that in my family because that was a turning point. And so I get the mistrust or whatever, but it just felt like, dang, like I felt kind of in the middle, like, okay, like I don't want the same thing. Like I don't want to give him something and it hurts him or whatever and it changes him and stuff like that, because I love his personality. Oh my gosh. But I have to do something or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was how, you know, my family and his family was more on, I can't say his whole family, but certain members.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it PG.
Gonna keep it nice and clean.
Yeah.
You know?
Was like he's bad or whatever. And I remember one time where they threatened to be his A, and I was like, yeah, hell no.
Well, that's funny. See, we don't. The way I roll, it ain't no conversation needing to be had.
Yeah, conversation couldn't have been had. We'll go into that another time.
We can go at it another time.
Yeah, it was a very tough thing to go through.
Yeah.
But at that time, you know what's so crazy? When I was younger, my mom always told me, like, you need to learn how to pick your battles or whatever. Like, you can't fight everybody. Like, you have to learn how to pick your battles and walk away sometimes. And for some reason, in that particular situation, I didn't argue back or nothing. I literally was like, my daughter was a baby then. Like, she may have been like 1 or whatever, but I was like, yeah, let me pack up my children and I'm going to walk out. And that's all I did. Like, yeah, I'm out.
I think it's just like, because again, you have 2 children and one was young. I think sometimes we just like, I got so much going on, I'm not even finna have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
There's no need for me to have a conversation with you because you're speaking of a place of frustration and arrogance. Yeah. And I don't have the energy to be going back and forth with you.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I don't even think it was like fighting your battles. I think it was just more of like, you don't even deserve my space. Yes. You don't even deserve my time. And you don't even need to be around my kid because you don't even know how to handle him. Yes. And if that's the case, you can get the hell on.
And you know what's crazy? After that situation, I was like, oh my God, I'm very protective. I'm low-key the helicopter mom. I'm working on it. Especially after seeing Forever. I'm working on it.
Stop it, because I am the helicopter. No, I am the helicopter. Like, let's talk about that. I am. And you know what? Truth be told, I'm going to be on, I'm going to look in the camera. I don't care. I don't give 2 damns. I don't care. I am. He's fine. We're fine. You know, I feel like, first of all, I feel like with our kids, we have to be. Yes. Especially in a place where they don't quite understand. Yeah. And I don't know about your kid, but my kid is 7, and he don't look 7. Yes. That's the truth of the matter. He does not look 7. He looks all the parts of 10. You know, and sometimes if you're not cautious enough, people be treating your kids any old way. And we'll talk more about that because even a provider that we once had treated him in a not careful way.
Oh, I cannot wait to have that conversation.
Yeah, we're
definitely gonna cry.
We're gonna
girl, you had me at this point. Like...
No, I was like, I was telling him, because here's the thing: when we first started at Faces, we were all sharing our stories one by one. I think me and you were the first ones, and I think like even Felicia, wonderful, hi Felicia, she was talking to us and she was talking to us about our journey. So we spoke about ours first. And when they heard mine, they were like, oh my God, how are you? And I'm like, what? Yes. And I'm like, I'm I think it's like, we don't really realize how much we've been through until you say it to other people. And then they find like, and you're still standing and you're still here. How? Yes. And I'm like, through the grace of God.
Through the grace of God. If it wasn't for God.
Because here's the thing. I think, like, when I came to Faces, I think we came... What happened? Like, I think it was in March, right? March or February?
Yeah, It started in March.
I think for that, like, I already healed. Like, I went through that in December and all the other months before that.
Yeah, so you had time to process it.
So I had time to process it. And then by the time I came to y'all, I was already like, yeah, that happened. And now... we moving in this direction. Right. I think sometimes even with having a child who has special needs, I think sometimes we go through these hurdles and we just keep going. And a lot of time, like for me, I don't think about it. Yeah. I have moments where like I be like, why am I so sad? Like, what's wrong? What's going on? But excuse me. I have these moments where I'm like, oh, why am I so sad? What's going on with me? And then I realize because that happened, and that happened, and that happened, and then this happened, and now this is happening.
And you're just holding and get in.
You're holding it in, and you're pulling yourself together. You're holding it in and pulling yourself. And that can be a lot, right? So, I think like back to what you were saying when it comes to support, I think that's a thing where it's like you got to be selective. And I learned that on this journey, being selective of who is around your kid, being selective who's around your family, what advice to take.
Yes, because baby, when you become a parent, everybody got advice.
Everybody got some advice, and then you be sitting there like, and where your kids at? What they fitting to do? Because where they at? Let me see where you getting all this from. And that's not to. I don't like to bash mothers, and I don't like to bash fathers, but at the same time, I more respect people who have autistic child versus not. Because I feel like you understand the steps I'm taking. You have walked that path, and if you're giving me advice from a place of experience, yes, I'll take what you say. I'll pray on it, and I'll take what you say, and whatever happens from there. But I think like a lot of the time when it comes to non-autistic families, I'm really not taking a lot of the advice.
Yeah, they can't relate.
Not at all.
You can empathize or whatever, and I do respect the people that don't judge
or
whatever, that's not in the same situation. They offer support and an ear, and they're willing to learn and stuff like that. I love people like that. That's great. Because everybody not like that.
That's sweet. I'm on the path now, like, I don't mind you playing a listening ear, but to teach you every time we speak, that's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Understand? Okay. Like, I don't mind saying this is why, and we went through this and this and this, and when it comes to this, but when it's a constant thing of teaching you every time I'm talking to you on the phone, or every time we're in a space, I'm not here for it every day. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, honey, we had that conversation already. How many times are we going to talk about this? We spoke about that on this day, and this day. So in a place of, yes, it's very beautiful that people want to learn. But at the same time, if we've been in your life, or, my son's been in your life for the last 8 years or 7 years, you ask me the same questions. I mean, at this point, you gotta
do the work.
You gotta educate your damn self.
Yeah.
I mean, just come on. Come on now. I just feel like after a while, why are you not educating yourself? Yeah. Like, is this person of value to you or not? Yeah. Because come on now. Like, there's no need. There's no need. So I'm a little different when it comes to that. I feel like, yes, it's great that you want to learn. It's great that you want to be a listening ear. But at some point in time, you got to educate yourself. Yeah. Take the responsibility. If you care about someone and you're saying, this person I want in my space, I got to do the initiative to make sure I can keep that going. I got to do the research. Right. If there's a safety issue, so if I say, hey, he has trouble with elopement, you're like, okay, what's elopement? He runs off. Well, why does he run off? I tell you why he runs off. Because he could be overstimulated, a lot of things could be happening. Yeah. And then he just, he runs for the hills. If that's the case, then why in the world are we at the point where you're still asking me about elopement? Right. Several years later.
I already told you that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you try to say it nicely. And you'd be like, so what do you do? I'm like, we talked about this, what I do. We talked about this, what we do, what things we have to have in a household. I mean, there is just some point in time when it comes to support, that's a part of support. Yeah. Of understanding and making adjustments to let us be a part of your life in a different way. You have to accommodate. I think that's the biggest support that you ask for family and friends. Yeah. Is if you want us to have a relationship and you want to have a relationship with our children, is that you have to make this place more accommodating. You have to be understanding. Like, if you have a 2-hour event, understand that I'm probably not going to be the first one coming through the door. Right. Understanding that I'm probably going to be there an hour in. And I may leave 40 minutes. I may leave 45 minutes. It's not personal. It's not personal. It's just that he had enough. And truth be told, I'm tired of ripping and running. I'm tired of ripping and running around here,
I'm not going to lie, low-key, I love that. Both my kids, for real, have a real short, like, all right, we've been here, we ready to go. Ooh. I low-key love that, because I be like, me too.
You're my excuse. Let's go.
Yeah, so
I just want to go home.
they're over it, you know.
Oh my god. No, but you know what? People are not open with that to me because I am the opposite. I'm the person that comes in the beginning and leaves toward the end. I'm the person that hee hee ha ha laughing, keying it up. Like for me to leave early, they're like, "What's up? What happened?"
Yeah. Okay. Because it's not the norm for you.
It's not the
but
norm.
Things had to change.
Yeah, and then even in a sense like, usually when I go out, I'm usually like, "Hey, blah, 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 blah." But then when you see me, I tell you, we went to this fundraiser. I told you we went to a fundraiser. And the funny thing was, the fundraiser started at 6:30. Maybe I got there at 7:30.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow. I was like, "Yep, 7:30."
But you made it though.
I did.
A win is a win.
A win is a win because I was sitting there like, and I don't even know why.
A win is a
why?
win.
Like I'm like, why did we we are going to be late? But at the same time, I'm like, I have to give us grace, showing your face. So the fundraiser was made for me. They're really great. They made some equipment for Hassan. But what I loved about them is just that I went there for support to let them know that we're grateful for everything that they do. The more people, the better outcome, right? So I went there. And I'm like, oh my God, I went in there. The way I came in there, I had a friend of mine who was already there with her kid. And she came in there, she was like, hey, I was like, hey. She was like, I haven't seen her in like a year. She was like, hey, I was like, hey. She was like, I didn't think you were going to make it. I was like, I was really fit. Not to
yeah.
But again, it was such a beautiful turnout. It's like sometimes even when it comes to support, it's just someone's checking in. And that's what I love about like my terms of support. It may not look like traditional in a sense because a lot of the people that are here, that are close knit, they're not here. So it's like, they more call in and check in. So I have family who are from up north and they call and they check on me, making sure that I'm good, making sure our family is good. My mom, she comes back and forth from here to Virginia. And what I love about it is just that just having that call and just checking in. I feel like if you can't be here physically, just calling and checking in and say, hey, you were on my mind, you were on my mind, you were in my heart. I want to check in and see how you were doing.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the most important things moving forward. That even in a sense like support, if you're not able to have it on a consistent basis every day, checking in makes a world of difference on somebody's mental health.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Somebody saying like, hey,
just,
I thought of you. You okay? I haven't heard from you in a while. How you feeling?
Yes.
I think that's a lot that has to do with like being on this journey. And that's another reason why we were so open to doing this, because we also want to have a community that we could check in on.
Yes.
People that keep on coming and giving us updates about their kid and saying, hey, this happened and, how to maneuver this, or what did you do? Or have you been through this before? Or if anybody else in the community has.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of time, like for myself, I feel alone. And then when you see other parents and you're like, oh, I'm not alone. You feel the way I feel. Sometimes okay, so you don't sleep well either? Okay.
Yep.
All right. And your child stems too? Make a whole lot of noise.
Yeah.
Do all them things. I think it's just the feeling of not being alone and at the same time having that close-knit unit that says, hey, I didn't hear from Jasmine in a long time.
Yeah.
Let me check on her.
I'm not gonna lie, I have to get better at that.
Oh,
I am doing right. You talk about me.
Oh
like,
man, that's you.
Because like I have a million, as you've been learning, I have like a million things that I am doing or whatever on top of my kids, on top of just everyday home responsibilities. I'm like, when I do get a chance to think about somebody, I'm like, damn, it's been like a month since I talked to this person. Let me check in.
But that's okay though. See, you may sound like you weren't talking to them like in 8 months.
No.
It's been 5. It's
Yeah.
been 6 months. I haven't heard from you. I think that, and also like support is also their support understanding that that hey, you have all these factors and you have a special needs kid. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially now, I feel like I only match people's energy. I had to learn that. More so like recently, I had to learn like be with people who match your energy. If they are not calling you, why call them?
Yeah.
If they're not checking in on you, why check in on them? You gotta pour into the cups that pour you. So in a sense, it's like, even with support, hey, a month is good. I say a month is good. With all the stuff you just said you got going on, I mean, girl, I'll be sitting here like 3 months it is. 3 months it is. Or you may get a little text, hey, you good? Question mark. They send me a happy face or a sad face. Happy face, okay, I keep you pushing. Good. Sad face, I give you a call.
Yeah.
That's how I'll be moving.
Yeah.
You just need a little.
Yeah, exactly. So, but okay, so let's go ahead and kind of wrap up our first episode. I think that we discussed how we wanted to end things, and we wanted to talk about something that we were proud of or accomplished this week.
Oh, what did I accomplish this week? You can go first.
Okay. This week, I accomplished putting up the clothes after laundry.
Oh.
The same day.
Oh, high five! Because the bag is still sitting. 2 bags are still sitting in my room.
Listen.
What?
Now, I do still have a load in the dryer. The washing machine that I started this morning.
That's progress.
A win is a win.
A win is definitely a win. Yes. You said laundry. Baby, don't touch on laundry.
Listen.
Don't touch on it.
Listen.
I'm proud of you. That's good.
Thank you.
That's good. That's good, because that's something I will not do.
Yeah.
Ever. But I can say what I'm proud of.
Okay.
I am proud that I came today.
Yes.
I was really feeling like a part of anxiety, and I was like, oh my God, I don't think, and all up in your head. And I think for me, I just was like, you want to give yourself all the excuses. And I could have sworn, like, when I was giving myself an excuse, I don't know why, but your voice came in my head. You were like, no, if you push it back, you're never going to do it. And I was like, you know what? Okay. And that's when I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold myself accountable. We did this. We're going to do it. So I'm very proud of myself. I'm
proud of you too.
I'm proud. Because, it's just to be like.
And you did amazing. This is our first episode, you guys. Thank you so much. If you are still here, baby, you are it. Okay? You're our person.
You are true.
Yes. Thank you so much for making it to the end. We are wrapping up our very first episode.
Yeah. So, giddy.
Stay tuned. We're just starting, but our goal is to drop a new episode every Wednesday.
Yep.
And catch us on YouTube for now, until we get the big butts and the sponsorships. But catch us for the free 99.
Free 99 deal.
On YouTube or whatever. I cannot wait for you guys to join us on our journey and meet the people or the amazing people that we have met and that we're going to be able to meet and interview and go on this journey together. So check us out next time. Again, it is the No Manual, Just Love podcast. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so you can know when we drop new episodes. Bye, you guys.
Bye.